Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Maymoney back here again to do a little different type of video today. Now that The Walking Dead is on its hiatus for the mid-season, I'm gonna do a little just recap of season 1 through 3 of the 100. It's another one of my favorite shows, and the trailer just came out a couple of days ago for season 4. So I decided that I would talk a little bit about my thoughts about season 1 through 3 before that happens. So yeah, let's get into it. So I first like how I got introduced to this show was through Netflix, and they were like hammering it down my throat, like you would like this show, you would like this show, blah 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 blah. And I was just kind of like, it seems like another kind of typical apocalyptic teenager kind of show, like Hunger Games or Divergent and stuff. And I really wasn't. I liked the Divergent books, but the movies, like, so I just kind of was like, it's probably just gonna be another one of those let down kind of shows. But it ended up really, really impressing me, and yeah, and I got hooked on it after you know, Jasper got speared. So, spoiler warning, if you haven't seen the show, I definitely recommend you checking it out. I'm actually not going to get into too much of like the details, so it's not really a spoiler kind of review. It's just kind of a overlap of like all the different characters and my favorite characters and how I felt about just generally season 1 through 3. California dreaming about. So, because it would take a million years to discuss everything that happened in seasons 1 through 3, I'm just gonna go by character, both or not all the characters, but like my favorite ones and the ones that I really really liked, and some of the moments that I really liked, like in my favorite season, some of the moments in my favorite season, and yeah. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start with Clarke because that's the main head honcho of the show. So she comes out and she's just like this instant kind of leader role in once they drop the 100 down to the ground. Her characteristics are really really strong. She's always looking out for her people. She's really clever, quick thinking, very brave. Manipulative is another way I would describe her too. She kind of like manipulates people's thinking and kind of like has these really really clever plans, and you guys know what I mean if you've seen the show. So I really really like uh, the basis of Clarke's character, especially when it starts out, and the progression of like where she ends up by the end of season 3. Actually, by the end of like season 1, beginning of 2, she's a completely different kind of character. So, and she's always making the tough decisions. I really like how they have like parallels where she always pulls a lever, like making a decision to pull a lever and not to pull a lever at the end of every season, like with the dropship, with Mount Weather, and again with Allie. So that's kind of a cool little parallel that they tend to have in the show with Clarke. Um, Another tough decision was like not telling anybody about the bombs dropping on Tondisi, which was fucking crazy. That episode, I've never really seen anything like that in a TV show where they just drop a bomb on like a whole town. Like, this show does not care about killing mass amounts of people. It actually does that more often than killing just one, which is really, really interesting and new, especially for me in the shows that I've watched, in the movies that I've watched. So that's another thing why I really like the show, because it's something kind of fresh and new and kind of touches on uh, topics that haven't been touched on before, really unique. Um, Another, and she just like is always feeling like the weight of like the blood on her hands of like the lives that she's been responsible for like taking, or the lives that were lost, like Finn, and you know, burning up all those grounders at the dropship, all the people at Mount Weather, which was a huge, huge decision that she had to make. But I mean, honestly, I didn't see any way out of it. Um, I mean, I don't, what, especially because, yeah, Jasper, he wanted to save the world or whatever, or like kill Cage. But like, what if that wouldn't have worked? What then? So, and it would have been nice if he would have been like, oh, I'm going to go try to assassinate Cage and maybe wait off before do what you're going to do, something. But that wasn't possible. So he needs to stop blaming her as much. Um, and Raven kind of has a little animosity towards her because of Finn and just the decisions that she makes and Raven is kind of a hot-headed character to begin with. We'll get more into her, but so there's people that do blame Clarke. One second. So yeah, she is partly responsible, mostly responsible for all the lives that have been lost once they hit the ground, but also like she's trying to save her people. So somebody has to make those hard choices. Somebody has to make those hard decisions. Anyway, so what I like about Clarke, she cares for especially the 100, and she's super badass, really strong-willed, brave, and like takes a leadership role even above the adults that kind of come down onto the ground. Let's go into Bellamy. Um, First of all, I will say that despite his strange kind of character development in season 3, like he's still my favorite character. He's really, really complex and not neither good nor bad. He's just kind of like a normal person, and with real normal feelings. He's not like a typical TV show kind of character. He's another leader. He leads in a different way. He's really, really complex. Protector of his sister Octavia. Um, he's a good guy. I have notes right here. I'm trying to stay on track because there's a lot to cover. He's a good guy. Really, really big heart. Cares a lot for people. But also like because of that, can be misled or make rash decisions. And also, he can be a little selfish at times too. But that's like human nature, and they just really, really make his character extremely human, which I do like. We'll get a little bit into what I kind of thought was weird later in just a little bit. But like some of the decisions that I wrote down about him, making selfish decisions was the whole wristband thing that went down in season 1 where he was trying to get them to take off the wristbands because their vitals were being sent to the Ark. Um, the whole like hanging Murphy thing. I feel like that was a very complex scene because um, didn't like Clarke try to keep. And he didn't want Clarke to say anything because he knew that people were gonna like get all riled up and get all crazy, and so it kind of was on Clarke for that it even went down like that. Um, and then he also like pulls the lever with Clarke, so he does make pretty like tough decisions, but sometimes they're not always for the right reason. But I find that really interesting. It's not like something that makes me dislike him. It actually makes me like him even more and more relatable to me, because like some of those things would really happen like that if it were like the show were real life. So I'm a big fan of him. One of my favorite moments with him is in season 2 when he infiltrates Mount Weather. Like he was captain, he saved the day, and it really reminded me, if any of you guys played Metal Gear Solid that might be watching this, I got a whole lot of Metal Gear out of his character. Like while he was going around and just like crawling through all these vents and like setting up walkie talkies in different spots and like sneaking guns to people, um, with in the reactor. It was really Metal Gear to me, and I loved it. And I thought they made his character so fucking badass, and like he really fucking came through for them and like saved the day. Without him, everybody would be dead. Um, and I think that might be one of the highlight moments of his character. Who the fuck mows their lawn at when it's dark? I don't get that. Why didn't you start during the day? That is just silly. Anyway, she be mowing her lawn like every fucking day too. Like, how fast does your grass grow? But sorry if you can hear that. If it's distracting, there's nothing I can do about it. But yeah. So I kind of want to go into strange character development that I didn't really like in season three. I still love the character, but I thought it was a little weird and sudden. First of all, he's with this girl Gina, right? And I'm like, who the fuck is this bitch? Like I've never seen her before. I guess he's just hooking up with her, whatever. You know, I guess he likes her. They've been together for a while. And but then when he finds out about Clarke being, hunted by all these people, he like goes head like he is out and he's like really trying to rescue her and get her back. He sees her and like he just really is trying to rescue Clarke, right? So he has his girlfriend still like is worried, seemed more worried about Clarke than he was his girlfriend. So when his girlfriend, her name was Gina, right? When she got assassinated by that creepy dude, um like did I don't really feel like Gina was enough like of a character for him to care about. I don't feel like he cared about her enough. Sorry, I can't talk right now. To his reaction to Gina's death, I don't think would have been that rash, or we didn't see him with her enough to really believe that he would behave that way afterwards. But so I just didn't get why he was like following Pike, but I guess I can kind of understand by the end of the season. Um, Only thing that I kind of pieced together with that was like he was really upset also about Clarke leaving. Well, he was worried about her, and really just angry at her for leaving him and um, making the choices that she made because he did bust his ass in Mount Weather, and then he's like, when he like handcuffed her in the room, he was like, "Well, you betrayed and left me for somebody that like betrayed our people at the mountain and all this." So I kind of get that point because he fucking went through radiation, was getting hung upside down, bled, and all this craziness, for her to kind of, he felt betrayed. So I get that, but if they would have made that more clear, I feel like that would have been more understandable, instead of the way that they did it. If you guys follow my drift. Anyway, so so yeah, he explained some things while he was like handcuffing Clarke and why he was so angry with her. So that I wish they would have went more in that direction than just kind of like blindly following Clarke, because that just didn't seem very character like him. But he did finally, like, once Clarke came back, he made a quick turnaround and kind of like started like mourning his ways and kind of like having a lot of deep regrets and decision and like of his decisions that he made. So I guess that makes sense. But I don't know, it's just a little off to me. But we'll get back into him a little bit later. Um we'll go on to Raven, one of my fucking favorite characters for sure. I think him and Raven and who else is like another favorite of mine? I really like Monty too. So yeah. So Raven's like hella smart, super like brave, badass chick, very hot-headed, has a lot of attitude. Love that. Um Always saves the day, so in my notes. Um and goes through a lot throughout all the seasons, like the loss of Finn, and like even like when she bolted herself down off the ark to come see if they're all alive. She comes back just to find out that he kind of moved on hella fast off her. So that's pretty heartbreaking for her. And then Clarke kills him. And then, so that's really painful. She got shot by Murphy, like, loses, like, feeling in her leg. Then she goes in Mount Weather and they start drilling in her leg again. And then she got chipped by Allie. So I'm like, damn, like, can we give her a break? Because I feel like she's going through a lot, but it doesn't look like she's going to get a break because in season 4 trailer, if you guys haven't seen it already, check it out. But yeah, she was like seizing, so I guess she's not getting a break as far as I could tell. But I can't wait to see where her character goes in season 4. It should be very, very interesting. Um, because they were there's a lot to do with her, and I always like the the character development that she gets in the stories that she gets. So I just want to see more of that in season 4. Octavia. So at first she annoyed me. She was annoyed me in season 1, the first couple episodes of season 1. Um, until she like found Lincoln, and that's when I really start to like her character a lot because she was a kind of a peacekeeper. She saw good in him, like when others couldn't, and was really trying to like help him and making the right decisions. And then she becomes like an ambassador, kind of like between the tree crew and the sky crew, or the grounders and the sky people. So I really liked that, like the way they kind of moved her character, because she was always under the floorboards. She spent her whole life like kind of being hidden away. So I like how she doesn't feel like she has a home on the ground or in the sky. She feels like her only home was Lincoln, like the only person that really like truly loved her besides Bellamy. But yeah, so I really can see why she got so attached to Lincoln and why she was so devastated when like he died. But before that, she became like this badass warrior, like and really starts to connect with the grounders. And then we see this huge, like, kind of. I think we're gonna see a huge character shift, especially because of the trailer. Um, since Lincoln's death, she really is like resenting her brother, really, really angry at him, but also still cares about him because if you remember in season 3 when they were at Polis and everybody was all chipped, and Abby is torturing Clarke, and she's like, "Oh, start with Bellamy Blake or some shit like that." And then she still was worried about him, like when they were like trying to take him away or whatever. So she still loves her brother, but she does have a lot of resentment towards him. But she still loves him. And another reason why I think she was so pissed at Pike is because she turned somebody, or he turned somebody that she cared about, like kind of against her, and kind of misled him, and you know ended up kind of leading him into making these wrong decisions. And so of course she's gonna, and he killed like Lincoln and like executed him in the square and shit. So she hates this fool because she kind of has taken away two people that is her home. Like her home is gone because of Pike. So I get that. I do want to know what she's up to in season 4. Like, she just kind of seems to be out on her own. Like, where are you going? What are you doing? Why are you fighting all these people? What's going on with her? Anyway, so let's move on, because I don't want this to be terribly. Jasper and Monty are two of my favorite characters. I like all the people that are like our original 100 group. So I like Jasper and Monty because they're like brothers. I like their relationship. They're super smart kids, really, really fun to watch. When they were in Mount Weather and they like kind of led that one scene where those guards come in and they just like all of them start stabbing the fuck out of all those guards, and like it gets really, really bloody and crazy. That was a great scene. I loved it. That was one of my favorite episodes actually. Um, Jasper is pretty interesting as a character because he doesn't really handle the pain and the trauma and the deaths of people he loves like very well, not as well as others. Um, he like heavily drinks. I think he got locked up for like taking drugs and stuff. So he just kind of like doesn't deal well with, everything that he's been going through. So it's like but that's like how a lot of people would react. So I get it. That's why I like his character, because he's one of those realistic characters in this kind of world. Like, he behaves realistically in my eyes. Um, and then Monty has like made some pretty crazy decisions too. Like, he was there when like he irradiated the whole floor with Clarke and them, and then he had to kill his mom, which was really crazy. Like, I can only imagine um where his character is gonna go next season, because he looked pretty angry for at Clarke. So just add another to the list of another person who was angry at Clarke, but he can't blame Clarke for that. That was Allie. Blame Jaha if anything, unless she does something else that, and that we don't know about yet, to make him so mad at her. Um, and another question that I have is, does anybody know when Jasper got chipped? Because I've seen all the 3 seasons like maybe 3 times, and I've watched a lot of the episodes again. And I mean, the only time that I can think is when Luna was like being drowned in the tub or whatever, and like he was tied up there. That's the only way that I can see he took the chip. But did he take it by choice, or did they force it upon him? Like, what happened there, and why didn't they just explain it to us? Really annoying, because I still don't know when the fuck he got chipped, and I feel like I will never know. And if he took it like he wanted to take it, or if he was forced to take it. And I'm really interested. So if anybody fucking caught that and knows, please let me know down below, and let me know where I can find that in the show, because I it's on Netflix, and I have the 3rd season on Amazon. So, and I think it's on Netflix too. So just let me know, because I would like to see that, or see when that happened. Or just let me know if they didn't show it, if you know when it happened. So yeah, let's go on to Murphy, another one of my favorite characters, because he's so complex and interesting and so misunderstood. He's always wrong. He was wrongly accused, hung, banished, and exiled, and he was angry at people for fucking hanging him, and like banishing him, and then he got tortured by all these grounders. He looked like shit when he came back, um, and like kind of spread that disease or whatever, that infection or whatever around. And he's just so misunderstood, and it's not his fucking fault, like, that he is the way that he is, because people just treat him, give him the fucking shitty end of the stick. So, and by season 3, like, I loved him, like, completely loved him. He's a funny character, he's really witty, and he just weasels his way out of, I mean, every situation. So, I mean, he's super interesting and really, really misunderstood character. And then he ends up, helping Clarke and helping Bellamy, and like really stepping up and helping them fucking survive. And like, good thing they had him, otherwise it would have been all bad. So, Murphy is one of my favorite characters. Let me know what you guys think about Murphy. And another thing is, like, he knew from the very beginning that that chip was all fucking bad. He was like, I'm not fucking with no chip. No, I'm not taking the chip. He never wanted to take the chip. Never thought about taking the chip. So, good on you, Murphy. He's smarter than he looks. And a better person than he looks. He's just so misunderstood, and it's really fucked up. But let's talk about Lexa a little bit, because she's like a hot topic in this show. Super badass character. I loved her when I first saw her. Fucking makeup, and the actress is really, really great. Her hair is on point all the time. And she was one of my favorites until she flipped the switch at Mount Weather. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I guess I can understand that she was just saving her people, but that was just really kind of like, flipped my character, like, interest in her a little bit. Because that's just some betrayal, and she was just going to leave them to die. And then she comes back and tries to, like, be buddy-buddy again. Like, what did you think, like, Clarke was going to do? I would be so fucking pissed if you captured me or whatever, trying to save my life, when it's like, what the fuck? Why do you care now after what you did? But I guess she did feel guilt, and about what she did and really did love Clarke and all that, blah blah blah. I really liked how like she was like a dope ass commander. Like at first I thought Anya was the commander, but she was just like a chief or something. Um, or maybe Anya wasn't a Nightblood, so she couldn't be the commander. But she was Lexa was Anya's second, right? So yeah, I was like really surprised when the commander was Lexa. First of all, I was like, that's fucking badass. She's fucking the hot shit. And she has a really interesting relationship with Clarke by season three, and super controversial for a lot of people. I just was like, okay, I guess that's cool. Like I wasn't really, I definitely got vibes that she was into her in season two, especially when she was asking about like, oh, like, do you care about Bellamy and all this stuff, and then I just started getting lesbo vibes from them like at that point in season two, and so I wasn't really surprised when it happened. Um, and then I was just like, oh, that's cool. Like I'm down for whatever, like whatever they want to do. I wasn't like super passionate about their relationship like a lot of other people were. Um, but I was like totally down with it. I'm like, all right, well that's a new twist. That's interesting, and I'll fly with it. I'll roll with it. And then she has a very sudden death, and I mean, it seemed to have really upset a lot of people. But I was like, okay, well, that's just another person that died, and she got a role on Fear the Walking Dead. So I guess the actress like comped out. You can't be mad at the show for killing her off when the actress wasn't interested in playing that role anymore. Like, don't blame the show, and like it just went down the way it went down. It's not because she's a lesbian character that they killed her off. Like, it's because the actress didn't want to fucking do the show anymore. Get over it. I'm sorry. Like, it sucked. It's really sad, really sudden, but it happened. People have to get over it. And Alexa wasn't the only like love interest of the characters that passed away. Like, think about Raven and Finn. Like, Raven lost somebody that she loved. I mean, Abby killed her own husband, basically. Who else? I'm not gonna throw Gina in there for Bellamy because it just didn't. I wasn't convinced by that relationship. Um, who else? Oh, Jasper and Maya. Octavia and Lincoln. Um, anybody else I'm leaving out? There are a lot of loved ones of people die, and like they have to get over it, and like or not get over it, but just like they have to deal with that. So I mean, just like how is Lexa and Clarke any different from any other people that lost loved ones in their relationship? I mean, and it happens in a whole bunch of different shows. Like I'm a huge fan of Walking Dead, and a lot of the loved ones, once you start getting all lovey dovey, usually one of them motherfucker dies. Like that's just how it goes. So I was not surprised one bit, and I'm not gonna be like in an outrage over the way that the story went down because I've seen people like romantic interests die a million times over and over. So that's just the way shit the cookie crumbles, and then they'll find somebody else. Like there is a chance to love again. Like so yeah, that's just how the cookie crumbled. I liked Lexa as a character. I really did. I thought she was really, really badass and cool. And it was sad to see her go. And that's it. And no, I'm not going to ship Clip and all that nonsense because it's a fucking chip. She's gone. She's dead. That's it. Okay? Get over it. I don't want to see Clarke dating a chip. Okay? That would just be dumb. Anyway, so I'm gonna move on to my favorite like parts of the whole show that we've seen so far. I really like season two was my favorite season for sure. I thought the Mount Weather storyline was really really fucking crazy and cool. From Clarke's escape of Mount Weather, and then finding out how they're like caging up the grounders and bleeding them, and like trying to experiment on them to so that Mount Weather people can inhabit the ground instead of having to be in the mountain. And then Cage and the Doctor were super fucking creepy and like, ooh, so unlikable. Like I just loved when that lady fucking shriveled up and died. Um, and I loved Bellamy, like how he just rose to the occasion and like really went Metal Gear Solid Snake up in that bitch. And so that was just, and like the Reapers and how Lincoln was like reaped. Like, man, it was really intense. The bombing of Tondesi and just the whole war. Finn was killed in that season as well. And oh, and how Finn fucking lost his shit. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't a Finn fan to begin with. And then once he started like really like getting crazy, like getting all crazy and shit, like I liked that like kind of way that he just I guess he just couldn't handle it and yeah, I thought that was really interesting and how Clark killed him. So yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in season 2. So I would say that that's my favorite season. And then the second half of season 3, I really liked as well because the whole alley um, war was really interesting. We got old Bellamy back, or kind of like he started to turn around. We got a reunion of our like main 100 crew. And we also saw Allie just like taking the fuck over and the way that she like did Raven, how she slit her wrist and Raven was all exorcism up in the fucking house um and then it brought also like a lot of enemies like Indra and Pike and like all these people together under one common enemy. Like they knew that, you know, they had to get together to fight this kind of enemy. So I really liked that. So yeah, I'm sure you guys are wondering if I have a ship. Yes, I do. And I'm pretty sure you know what it is. I am all for Bellamy and Clarke 100%. I mean, I kind of saw it from season 1 to now. I mean, they've been just slow burning it. Like, you know, how long has it been since they landed on the ground? 6 months? We found out when they had that flashback. So if it's only been 6 months, you gotta think about it this way. It's only been 6 months that these two people even like got to know each other. If they're gonna have a serious, if the relationship is even gonna pay off in some type of like really really meaningful relationship, that I would like, it can't just happen instantly because it wouldn't make any sense and it wouldn't be meaningful. Like first you have to like get to know each other. Do I even like this person to begin with? Do I care about this person? Do I like, is this person my friend? And then you just grow from there. Like you become friends and then maybe you become like a brother sister kind of relationship. And then you kind of like go into, you know, starting to really, really care and have like serious feelings about that person. If you're gonna be like, so I've been seeing that kind of progression throughout the whole series. And so I binged watched it. So and then I like have watched it again with a lot of friends and like I start noticing little just like droplets of like hints that they're pushing these two characters together. Another I can compare it to Rick and Michonne on The Walking Dead if you watch that show. Like it took till season 6 for them to get together and now they're fucking pretty much inseparable. Like they're not getting rid of Rick and Michonne. Like a lot of people had been shipping them for a long time and saw it coming, and that's exactly the way I feel about Bellamy and Clarke. They, you know, Rick and Michonne started off not even really liking each other. He was gonna sacrifice her to the governor, and then you know, then they kind of become allies and become kind of like friends. And then when the prison was all fucked up, then she comes and finds them and was so relieved and was like, no, I'm not leaving anymore. Like, I'm staying here. And then they, like, she has a really strong relationship with Carl and everything. So it just kind of like grows. And it's like, it pays off so well when it finally happens. So that's what I see is going to happen with Bellamy and Clarke. I'll give you a couple reasons if you would like to know. First of all, when they first started the show, you know, Bellamy and Clarke, they weren't getting along at all. Um, they were not really friends. You know, they didn't really like each other until I think that moment when that dude dies and he like she stabs him, and then he kind of sees like her in a different light, and he starts to look at her a different way. Like just the way he looks at her is like not really first it's kind of platonic, but at the same time there's a little bit something more in there. If I were to have a friend that would be looking at me the way that Bellamy looks at Clarke, I would definitely get vibes from that person. And I don't see how people don't see that. You must not be experienced with romantic interactions if you think that that look is fucking platonic. Um, so, and then like Clarke is always talking about like, I need you, Bellamy. Like, and she does because he is, especially when they landed on the ground, he was like kind of their warrior leader. Like, she wasn't a fighter. She had never shot a gun before. So she did need him. And he needs her to kind of like guide him and keep him on the right track because as we saw when she was gone, he went completely down the wrong path. Um, and then we have, and it just like in a lot of other people kind of, well, I'll get there. I'll just follow my notes so I can stay with it. Um, so when Bellamy has Gina, why is he like running after Clarke? Like, and then when he like dresses up as in the Ice Nation kind of a gear and then goes and offs to find her and he comes across her and like you could tell that he was so happy to see her and like he was like caressing her face. Like who does that? One of my friends would never caress my face, you know? Like I'd be like, "Brett, what the fuck is going on?" Like only person I would let do that is somebody like I had a romantic interest with. And she was very relieved to see him and begged like Rowan not to kill him at that moment. Like you could really tell that she was desperate and like willing to not. And even Rowan saw like their connection. So and he spared them because of that. I believe, or spared him because of that. And then he's like, I can't lose Clarke. He's like yelling like I can't lose her. And so who, what, like how is that not like hints that they have deeper feelings for each other, even though it's not out in the open yet or been revealed? Like, how is that not hinting towards that? And then there's another one. I mean, there's a million reasons. When he explains to her, when he like that handcuff scene, um, how angry he was at her and like how betrayed he felt by her, and he was like, "Well, you left me, and like now you're saying that you need me for real?" Like, you know, like he was upset that she left him, you know, and betrayed him, and you know, and like that he needed her, and he kind of was led down this dark path, and so he was really really angry with her, but he still found a way to forgive him, and and yeah, and I can see why he didn't really fuck with Lexa, not because he was jealous of her or anything, but just because like he busted his ass to get into Mount Weather, tried to help save her people too, and then she just dipped out on them. So yeah, I get if Bellamy don't fuck with Lexa. I'm sorry, I get it. Um, and then like when he does come back around in the second half of season 3, she's like Clarke is like really supportive of him, you know, always like worrying about him and like just checking up on him all the time, you know, and they always have them like eye contact scenes. And like, why show that if you're not gonna like get those characters together? And there's that moment where they're like wrapping each other's wrist. Like when he punches shit, she like wraps up his hand, and like when Raven bites her fucking right here, he you know wraps her up, and like they're always like talking and comforting each other, making sure that they're okay. Um, And then of course there's that hug at the lake, which I was just like loved. I like kind of fangirled out a little bit on that one, not gonna lie. Um, they're just their chemistry is so fucking strong that it's just like damn, like I can't wait. They are gonna get together. Like I'll put money on that shit. I really will. $5. Just kidding. But anyway, that hug at the lake when he was saying like, I was so angry at you for leaving and I don't want to feel that way anymore. Like that that was kind of a weird line that really hinted some romantic his romantic feelings for her. And then they have this hug, they hug it out for like fucking who knows how long. Um and then when they're like we're in this together and they take that like knockout juice to go to see Luna, they have this like little frame or clip where when he's passing out, the last thing that he's looking at when he's going out is Clarke. Like, why wouldn't it be Octavia? Or, like they didn't know if they were gonna ever wake up again. They don't know if these people are trustworthy or not. And if he's gonna take some mystery juice and it might be the last time he lives, why would it be Clarke be the last person that he want to see before he died? You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Um, like his sister was right there. Why wouldn't he look at his sister if he didn't have any feelings for Clarke? So, and then Clarke is always like, I trust you. And it's very clear that she cares for him. I mean, there's fucking reasons upon reasons. I mean, I'm only halfway through the fucking list. But I'll get through it just to prove it to you guys that, yeah, it's there. Let's see. Oh, and then when she's torturing, when Clarke's getting tortured at Polis at like I think the season finale or this last episode, um, Abby's like, oh, like her friends are her weakness. Start with Bellamy Blake. Why would Abby even say that? Like she could have started with any of them if they were all just platonic friends. But no, Bellamy is like her number one person, and Abby even saw that. Abby kind of called her out on her feelings for Bellamy. And then other people have also called them out, like Kane, like when Bellamy was like, I can't lose Clarke, I can't lose Clarke. Like Kane kind of looks at him like, I see what's going on here. Like he saw his feelings for Clarke. Like he looked at him a certain kind of way, like, why can't you lose Clarke, buddy? And then Abby called him out, Lexa called him out in season 2, and Murphy called him out for it. Like, you're not the only person trying to save somebody that you care about. Like, Bellamy is always hell bent on trying to, like, make sure Clarke's okay. And Clarke might be a little bit behind on it, but she is definitely, like, kind of, like, gearing up towards Bellamy as well. You know, she grabs his hand when she's taking the chip and all that stuff. So it's like it's there. It's just a slow burn, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Otherwise, I wouldn't really chip them at all, just because it would feel like a throwaway to me. But this is exactly the way I want it to go down, and yeah. So yeah, I'm glad I was able to get through this discussion with you guys because February 1st, the show will be returning for season 4. There's no real enemy. It does seem like there's going to be a little bit of funk between Ice Nation and somebody else or some type of grounder war. The grounders can't ever just fucking chill. They always got to be fighting somebody. And then we also are battling like the environment. So that should play out pretty interesting. I'm interested to see where that goes. And one thing I did want to mention, I forgot to mention at the beginning. That's when I pressed stop and I couldn't remember. The first 4 episodes of this show had a couple things in it that were never kind of touched back on again. Like Kane's character did kind of like a complete 180. I thought he was just going to be the villain the whole time, and he was very Star Trek-y the way that he was portraying his character. And then he kind of changed up his whole way of speaking and everything. And then Wells, he had this limp, and they never really addressed why he had a limp. They just kind of killed him off. Like, does anybody know why he had a limp? They never said anything about that. And then another thing that was inconsistent was, do you remember when the forest was like glow in the dark, and all those butterflies were glowing, and it was kind of Avatar ish at night. We never saw that again. So, and then when I was watching like an AfterBuzz TV kind of like review for Ben Bateman, I think his name is, for AfterBuzz, he was like, he mentioned something about how they gave Jason Rothenberg a more creative freedom after the first 4 episodes. So that kind of would explain why some shit was just kind of left off and like never mentioned again or didn't seem consistent with the show. Like that monster dude that Octavia saw, like we never saw him again. Um, they had a lot more like deformity. Even though they still have some deformed, like radiated people, like Amori, but yeah, they just kind of like just tossed some shit out the window and just kind of went in a completely different direction after like the first 4 episodes. So I thought that was really interesting, and I'm glad they did it the way they did, because it just made the show like really, really, really good after that. So yeah, let me guys know what you think about my thoughts about the 100. Let me know what you're excited for to see, and I'll be doing reaction videos for the 100 and The Walking Dead when it comes back in February. And I'll be doing reviews. And during the hiatus, I'll probably do some other random video discussions on Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is next, because I just finished reading that. So yeah, I hope you guys have a good, happy holidays and happy new year. It's like, what, the 20th right now? So we're getting towards the end of the year. And I will be continuing to post videos. I'll see you later. Peace.